to the Inspired Evolution, and this week I'm super excited to bring to you the vibes from Kate. Kate, how are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Yo, Kate Cheung in the house, and just to give you guys a little bit of background, Kate has been a practitioner of yoga for about 20 years. However, it wasn't until she came to Kundalini Yoga that brought about the unexpected benefits of stillness, heart-opening connection, and actually being in touch with her soul. Having previously had a corporate role, she did marathon trainings, and she was generally just leading a hectic city lifestyle, her transformation of which is ongoing. She has since then come on this journey, and she now shares Kundalini Yoga and meditation in the US, Europe, Africa, Asia, and she has an engaging nature and has often tailored private classes, group workshops and Skype sessions from Melbourne. And she takes pleasure in the transformation of her students' experience when they can connect with Source. So it's super exciting to have you here today.
Thanks, Amrit.
So tell me more about I will always say tell me more about it, but it was really awesome to have our first little Kundalini Yoga experience when you came over the other day. Super deep, super profound. Did not expect it to go there. I bet you probably get that a lot. But I guess the best place for us to sort of jump off into this conversation is what is Kundalini?
Sure. Kundalini or Kundalini Yoga?
Kundalini Yoga.
Yeah, sure. So Kundalini Yoga has been around for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. And it was transmitted from guru, so from teacher to student in a private practice. And what that was is, I guess, a transmission of awareness. So Kundalini Yoga means a yoga of awareness. And what does that mean? For me, it means a connection with self, a connection with soul. So for me, it is a transformative practice. It's more meditative, not necessarily based around the physical yoga that we're quite familiar with in the West. I love the stillness. Yeah. I love the meditative aspects. I love the shavasana, the deep relaxation, and all of that is a way that we can connect with our subconscious, because we know we need to be relaxed. We know we need to be present, but how do we get there? So it's just one method of many that we can actually get there, connect with our subconscious. And we get there through shunya, through stillness. Shunya.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
As you were sharing that, sorry, this is probably inappropriate, but it came to mind was I remember seeing a t-shirt which was like, I'm just here for Shavasana.
and that's fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people leave before Shavasana, but hey, that's where the big benefits are. And then often in Kundalini Yoga, we have the meditation straight after that. Yeah. So you are really deep in that space.
In that little meditation. So just in what you shared, you sort of coupled Kundalini with the word awareness. Is that because you said Kundalini Yoga awareness?
It's a yoga of awareness. Yeah, so that's, I guess, how it's often communicated. But Kundalini itself means lock of beloved, so hair of beloved. So imagine, often it's depicted by Kundalini, by a spiraling symbol that runs from the base of the spine to the top. So imagine that sort release of energy. Yeah, a bit like the doctor symbol. Yeah, with the snake. So often the serpent is depicted as well as that spiraling motion. Sure. So it's from the base rising up. So it's the unleashing of the energy. And, what is that energy? Is it the connection of soul? Is it the connection with your chakras? The integration. So the stillness and the oneness. So once we release that rises up. And call that consciousness in a group consciousness. Are we ascending with that? So I think there are a lot of concepts there that Kundalini is interwoven with lots of other, I think, podcasts that you've probably delved in. So, so the rising.
Yeah, right. So like almost what's coming through is rising energy. Yeah, cool. Interesting. So how does one go from, from being corporate, training for marathons? Like marathons are intense. I remember I used to train for half marathons, and it's an intense regime just to be running that much and putting your joints and your muscles through that consistently, and then obviously coupling that with corporate lifestyle. What happened there? Obviously you were on this journey of self-discovery, and maybe the running had something to do with that?
I was always doing yoga and I loved it, and I still love doing other forms of yoga. But I was open to all sorts of yoga.
Yeah.
And yes, I had a busy, hectic city life, as most of us do.
Yeah. But
I think you're right. I was seeking, and whether it was the commuting by bicycle, the exercise, loving catching up with friends, all of that is connection with others, or connecting with myself, or having that stillness as I'm doing the exercise. So Kundalini Yoga, I was curious about it. I'd read about Kundalini. I had an experience. I thought, I want to find out more about Kundalini Yoga. And what I did not expect was that sense of stillness. And it blew me away. It's like, this is amazing. And a couple of teachers suggested I should do teacher training. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're just probably saying that. They're just saying that. I just get, addicted quite easily, so I was going every day. But, yeah, that's fine. And then one thing led to the other, and there was teacher training in New Mexico in the US, and that's at the headquarters of Kundalini Yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this because I wanted to go deep, not to become a teacher. That's a bit way out, just to drop in and learn about it and be immersed. So I did that, and during that immersion, I thought, I actually love teaching this. This is amazing. And maybe it could have been a bit of a deep down secret that I hadn't really revealed to myself. And I thought, and I thought, this is great. I love it. Yeah. And as I was teaching more people, I just loved their feedback, the look on their faces after the practice on your face.
It's like the other day when
and I really love that. And it's not about me. So I can think, I want this to be a great class, but hey, I'm just a facilitator. It's about your experience. And that's what I guess gives me joy, seeing how people feel transported, transformed in those moments. And if they can continue that, whether they want to continue with Kundalini Yoga or not, or whether they find other practices, I think once you go there, I think you want to seek more, you want to delve in more. So
definitely. That does sound familiar. So I want to ask, what was your first experience like that drove home this result of stillness? Where were you? What took you there?
Sure. In terms of Kundalini Yoga, I went to my first class, and we had done the Kriyas, which is a set of asanas, set of postures, the deep relaxation, and the meditation. And that's in my first class. I sensed that stillness, and it was really beautiful. Really beautiful. So I've tried meditation, like I said, different types of yoga, but it was special. And I don't know if I can describe exactly how that is. It's just a feeling. Yeah. Just a feeling. So it was beautiful.
How long ago was this first experience?
It was almost 2 years ago, so not that long ago. So things just fast-tracked.
Once you start doing it. Yeah, incredible. And so now you've been guiding people through these Kundalini Yoga experiences. What's been, I guess, for people that sort of come to face with Kundalini for the first time, is there something that comes up for most people the first time? Obviously the lack of awareness around what it is, or do people have preconceptions?
Yeah, people probably have preconceptions. They're curious about it. They've heard about it. They probably think it's largely sexual, and it's not necessarily about that. So again, connecting with soul, and if you think about our lower chakras and our heart, making sure that we do have that flow of connection. So there is a preconception. I taught at go on. So
I was just going to ask, why sexual? What connotations is there about Kundalini that it has? Because I know
sure,
it's not Tantra. Whereas Tantra with Kundalini.
Yeah, there is a program called Tantric as part of Kundalini Yoga. And again, it's the male and female, or whichever couple is in that experience, that we meditate and do Kundalini Yoga for a whole day. Right. So And that's in a massive group environment. Yeah. And yes, Kundalini, there's the Kundalini rising, so the rising of energy. A lot of people associate that with sexual energy. Mm-hmm. But I guess Kundalini Yoga by Yogi Bhajan is really not necessarily about that. So
it's interesting you say that as well, because even Tantra is not fundamentally about sexual energy, right? It's about your own energy.
Yeah.
It's just that creative and creativity and your creative juices and your creative energy is so much intrinsically part of your human experience that then your creativity and your sexual energy becomes a part of that, and then that exploration of Tantra. That then people are like, oh, it's just Tantra's all about sex, and it's like, not really.
No,
it's about your relationship to yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, like, just to explore just that idea around what because I didn't realize when I first heard about Kundalini there was some sort of like something ruminating in the background, but I wasn't sure what it was. It definitely wasn't like, oh, Tantra, oh, that's definitely about sex. But then, it's cool, like, just to sort of, that's where this question came from. And so how do people, but once people have their first experience, obviously they push right through that, right?
Yes, because then they realise, it's not necessarily about my preconception. So, I think they feel that sense of stillness.
Yeah.
There are tears.
Yeah.
And that's normal. It's their release. It's their experience or embodiment of that moment in time. So I taught a class and many of them were first-timers and it was a healing meditation, and I asked who wants to be in the circle, so you were you're healed, the focus is on you, and more than half the people jumped in, and it's so people are searching, people are seeking, people want to be healed, and people want to go deep, not necessarily standing on the outside sort of looking in. I think I find that people are ready just to emerge and submerge themselves.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to them? I think it's, if they can get a beautiful experience out of it, or any experience, it's sowed the seed, and I think that's part of my job done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if I can
just initiate and activate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt like that for those. I know this is podcast, it's about you, but I can't sort of do the story justice without sort of diving into what it was like just going through the experience the other day.
Yeah, I want to know how you feel.
Because we
didn't do the debrief.
Because it was like, we're going to do a podcast. I guess this is the debrief. So for me, it was really intriguing because I didn't know what to expect. Being Indian, I understood the word Kundalini for me was like, had this connotations of energy and awareness. That's what was ruminating for me. And so I was like, maybe there's going to be a lot of movement.
And there can be.
So I was just like, I'm not really sure how this is going to go. But when you came in, you held space really incredibly.
Oh,
so thank you so much for that. That was really incredible to have that experience. And it went into, I was surprised by how it almost felt like this yin yoga aspect to it, in that like the poses were straightforward and simple, but when you stayed with them and the way you coupled yourself to the pose became really profound. Which not saying that normal yoga, the asanas aren't important and aren't like, don't blow your mind, but they didn't have that, like, I know in yin yoga when I sort of stay with the pose for 4 minutes, it's like all the subtleties and the nuances of that particular pose start dropping in, and it's like, oh, I'm tight there. And it's like, and this is where I'm resisting in life as well. And it's like, there's these really yummy lessons that come through. And I didn't expect Kundalini to be like that. I expected, and for me, the takeaway, the debrief, like, if we will, is it was kind of like doing a version of yin, because we held poses, but even though they were dynamic poses, so it was like you were still moving, but you were holding the same pose for like the timer was involved. So I enjoyed that, but then you couple that with breath work is kind of how I took it. And I found that to be incredible, especially in the rebound of poses. So when you got to the point where you'd hold your breath to sort of allow that energy that you've just created through a particular movement to stop and assimilate, it was interesting to sort of see what parts of my body were actually like, especially my back, I could feel these places like energy centers pulsating. And it was like, that's been tight for ages. And I could feel just how much energy was pulsating. And then it was because we weren't moving too much or too radically, but I was warm the whole time. So that was letting me know that, I'm definitely warm. I'm definitely moving something. Like there's energy shifting here. And then those energy centers, I think that's the crux of where I wanted to get to. Like energy was shifting in my body. And it sounds completely woo-woo and completely hippie now, which is weird. But that's what it was. Like I had like these tight centers in my shoulders and stuff. And just the pulsating. And then after a while, like especially in the final meditation, coming out of that, I didn't really want to leave that meditation. I think you remember that. I was just like, no, I just want to stay here. Like, I feel really good here. Like, why do I have to come back? Which is great because I love meditating anyway, but this was like a whole nother, I think my body just felt lighter and more active to receive the state that I wanted to go to after having done a sequence of asanas and having coupled the breath work into it, having the energy move. The body was really in this really yummy space where it was like having like released all these tension centers, going to drop into a meditation to sit, which is what my normal practice is, like just to sit for 30 minutes. But there is that, my shoulders are heavy. That's okay. Neglect it. Just stay tuned into just observing. It's important to observe that your shoulders are heavy, or it's important. But this was like, no, the body's in a really good place right now. Now just reflect inwards. And it was this really yummy meditation. Really yummy meditation. And so, I am very sold.
I'm glad.
It was a really incredible and deep. Like the word you used was deep and profound, and it resonates what you're saying in terms of just guiding people through their first experiences and seeing how it resonates. Because it definitely resonated for me, and it was I really appreciate the wisdom as well that you had. It was like, let's just do a session before I come over and have this chat, because this chat would be half as full.
Okay.
And we've not gone through that, so that was really cool. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. And so how is that with your work? Like, is that consistent as a debrief? Is that
yes, people are left wanting more, and I don't think they always know why they want more, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can just overthink and overprocess, but when there's a feeling or a need, then they're drawn to it. I think that's great. So people are wanting more and they feel great. So in terms, everyone will have a different experience. So, and that is normal. And because you've been a long time practitioner of meditation, you're probably already tuned in to your, mind-body connection, to your sense of stillness. So I'm glad that you were able to do another sort of meditation to...
I love it.
Yeah, to weave that in. So, I think that is a common feeling, a feeling of relaxation, lightness. I think that's a great term.
Is a great word. It really describes it really well.
And healing, I should say. So a lot of people have come to Kundalini from addiction, and it really helps them. Yeah, and there have been some scientific studies about how it has helped heal people.
Yeah.
So that's also something that's really great. I love that there's research about it and how it can be measured. Yeah.
It's really awesome. Yeah, it's interesting. I've been researching, one of my friends actually, she's an incredible yoga teacher in her own right, and she does this thing where she was informing me that now people are seeing, like, if you've got trauma or addictions, and if you're not coupling your treatment with yoga or any some type of mind-body connection, you're actually not doing the work of your treatment, is what cutting-edge science is showing them now, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because as even in the Kundalini, the work that we went through, it was like the energy centers, like there's an emotional connection to parts of your body, which then through movement and breath, you can really move stuff.
That's right.
And so I know I went through a sequence of asanas. There's like a whole kit and caboodle and range of like...
That's right. So you could be working on a range of emotions, on body parts, whether you're working on lungs and circulation, on bowels, on your chakras, whole range. And in terms of meditation, the same thing. So if you want to become more resilient, if you want to deal with today's hectic world, or if you want to improve in terms of your meditative space for running. So there's a whole series you can do on Kundalini for runners as well. So, it's so broad. There are thousands. So it's a matter of, and I guess what I am looking forward to do is with private classes, having them tailored. So people tell me what they would like to achieve. Pick a theme and then I can work with that. So so that's tailored for those individuals.
There's something I want to touch on in there, which is, we mentioned this when you came over, it was like just resilience. I wonder why that forms such a big part of why you're bringing this practice to everybody. Like, what does resilience mean to you?
I think it's about courage and having that internal determination and softness. So we can be determined. We know we've got to be strong. We can, we need to be able to handle what's thrown at us. But if we're soft within ourselves, not so hard and judgy on ourselves, I think that's really beautiful too. So again, it's that balance. So resilience. I think it is that drive, but that compassion as well. And Kundalini Yoga is great for building up your nervous system as well. So,
So on all layers. And that's interesting that you went there, because that was going to be my next question, was like, because you're in the next pillar of like what seems to be your philosophy is like softness. And I was like, resilience versus softness. And I was like, how does that actually couple in together? Because like in the layman's mind, or my mind anyway, initially, it was like, they kind of, at first appearance, they seem to be opposite. Like, I'm going to be resilient, but I'm going to be soft. And it's like, what? But I guess it has that connotation of perhaps water, which...
Yes, water element.
Like reflective of energy.
Yeah.
That was really cool. So, what is your favourite thing about Kundalini, like, about teaching it, like, for other people?
I think
that moment that people drop out.
When they open their eyes in the final moments, and I just, for me, it's just the best juice. I'm just like soaking that beautiful energy in. It is just gorgeous seeing their faces and feeling the stillness. So that's what I really love. That's the most enjoyable part.
And so, so is that what's kind of driven you to offer more and more of this work to more and more people now?
Well, I guess in a way it's like a drug, but like I was saying, it's not about me. I just love seeing people respond that way. So I think there's a lot of benefit in a group situation. It's absolutely beautiful. So I love that as well. And that draws an immense amount of energy within that circle or in that group. It's beautiful. But I think, I love doing the workshop and I love doing the private practice as well. So,
because I guess my question is kind of, how did you know that this is what was for you? And like, I guess the hint that I'm getting is like, you've been following your bliss into this state. Is it like what's been feeling like?
Yeah, I'm in a transition phase as well. So coming from the corporate life and then being on my travels and then coming back to Melbourne, which is great, family and friends and blessings that have just been, that have abounded, and new connections, old connections. So I'm learning to trust in myself. And yes, there are competing aspects. Yes, you should go back to the corporate world and earn that money and slot right back in where you were beforehand. It's like, hey, I actually love feeling this way and being still and seeing and meeting people and hard to describe. Why am I doing it? I think it feels good. Is that a good enough reason? Maybe there's not enough. It feels great, and it is a challenge. It's turning things on its head. But maybe I'll ride with that for a while, see where it takes me. But I'm enjoying it.
So what, and so I think I'm not sure how to frame this next question, but it's kind of like, how is it, like, in your life then? Like, because like you've got this practice of yoga, which is like focus on energy and awareness, and then holding that space, and then obviously carrying that with yourself wherever you go, and then how's that infusing into your life? Like, how's that enriching?
Yes, I think it's...
Obviously, you've left the corporate, so that's got one aspect to it, and then, like, it's opening up all this...
the blessings, yeah. I think it's really subtle. It can be really huge too. But for me, it's listening to myself and thinking, hey, I don't know whether this would have happened had I stayed in the corporate space or if I hadn't done my teacher training.
Yeah.
So I think the blessings in terms of knowing more about myself and knowing my shortcomings, there's darkness, but there's light too. So how do I integrate that? Because it's not as if we can totally remove the darkness, but that's part of the polarity, because we've got to acknowledge that. But at the same time, bring that beauty in. And in Kundalini Yoga, there is a phrase, Bahe Guru. So it means I'm in ecstasy as I'm transformed from darkness to light. And I think that's beautiful. And whenever we're feeling a bit low, I think that is great to know that there is that ability that we can alter our thought patterns, our feelings, our connections. So, what was your question again? Fusing. Yeah. So how do I fuse that? I think, and the blessings. I think connections with like-minded people, things that might seem spontaneous or just things that just happen. It's like, hey, maybe this is maybe it's the divine. So it's the divine, and maybe this is our path. And I don't know if there has to be explanations, because we're so used to having reasons to do things. But hey, if we just go with the flow and if we remain curious, then I think there are blessings that happen and there are challenges that happen too. It's not all bubbles and light. I think, I am on that journey. It's not as if I'm self-actualized and I'm there and I'm preaching. We all face our struggles, and I think if we can address that and we can be there for each other and be there for ourselves, the compassion.
It's almost like we're circling back to the essence of trust. Like maybe the practice of the yoga is supporting you in your trust and opening you up to that space, which we were talking about this just before the podcast started, just how fundamental like that becomes when you start walking into a new space, like letting go of the old and into a new paradigm. So fundamentally, or ideally, where do you, if, I know there's no such thing as a panacea for everybody, but obviously you believe in Kundalini Yoga quite a bit. What is your passion for Kundalini sort of see you is Kundalini something that's as mainstream as regular yoga and offered all over the place? Or what do you sort of see for Kundalini Yoga?
I think it is becoming more and more popular. I feel that there's this energy of seekers, and maybe it's because I know, but people are seeking. So I think people are more open and more curious. So it's not as mainstream as conventional yoga, because often people see yoga as, I just want to get really fit and toned and feel good. So it's about the physicality aspect. But those who are interested in that spiritual transformation, whether that sounds far out, or a transformation in themselves, or just wanting to try something new, I think they're the people who are drawn to Kundalini Yoga. And we do dress in white, and the turban, it holds in that energy as it flows upwards. So that is perhaps different from normal, regular gym yoga. So I think with yoga, it's a lifestyle as well, and maybe it could be a bit more pronounced with Kundalini Yoga, because the whole wearing white to, I guess, reflect that beautiful white healing light. That's really great, and you do feel lighter wearing the white. So there's this really interesting thing that you touched on, which is not to by no means bagging yoga, absolutely yoga. It's got such a fond part of my practice. But the gym yoga idea, how yoga in the West has become this, it's like you said, toned, fit, healthy, but it's mainly for the body. When really yoga was not designed, but yoga was, I guess, channeled through for supporting the body in its day-to-day practice of on the journey of self-actualization.
so as more of a supplement to your practice of good turning inwards, because fundamentally means unity, right? So like
Yes.
connection, and so connection to your source. So that's what yoga's hoping to facilitate, but we kind of don't look at it from that angle when you go to the gym.
Yeah, and gym yoga's fantastic, and people do drop in and they do get deep doing yoga that happens to be in a gym. And I think if there's no right or wrong, if you can do any yoga, I think it's fabulous. So yeah, go for it. But I guess some people will get different benefits out of it. So with the physicality, you can go from the physical through to the heart space, to a place of nurturing and love. So, but I found with Kundalini Yoga, it was fast tracked. It was direct for me. So yeah.
Yeah, because even like just when you're going through the poses, like you keep your eyes closed. Yeah, and so it's like already in that emotional, intuitive space, which was like wild.
Yeah.
I was like, go through these poses, but don't look. And I was just like, oh, like I've actually got to intuit and feel into my inner space. And then every now and then you watch, like for me, the teacher, I was like, tune in, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool, go back in and just like feel in your body. And I was like, I'm spending more time in here than I am out here whilst moving. It was completely new, completely novel, and yeah, really beautiful. And I think for me it felt exactly what you said. It was like a much more inward connection through that practice, and I think I'm excited by it. I think there's a lot of space for that to open up. And what you shared about it going out to more people slowly and gently, it was really interesting, because I've got a couple and they're friends of mine. They just came back from Bali, and I was like, how was your trip? This, that and the other. And they were like, mate, you've got to try Kundalini Yoga.
Oh, how phenomenal.
I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, of all the things we could be talking about right now, we're talking about Kundalini Yoga. And he's like, yeah. And I'm just like, what? There's like, she's coming around tonight to go after a session. And he's just like, and again, this is where you're like, synchronicity.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, okay, I'm way more receptive to this now than I was as well. But it definitely, and him and I haven't had this chat yet about dropping into seeing what his experience was like. But it's interesting because it was, it's almost like it is on its way around, and people are tuning more and more into this, and it's really exciting that, we get this offered here in Melbourne. It's and you do calls across the country, across the world.
Oh, no. So I'm available for Skype sessions and also, as I was saying, private classes.
Yeah.
And if people want workshops, so I think it would be great. And what I've enjoyed just personally is catching up with friends on a Friday night and say, let's do a meditation together.
Yo.
And I love just doing that. And that is not what I would have done in the past. But I think get a bunch of friends together, choose a theme, have a workshop for a couple of hours. And it's just really beautiful, especially amongst friends. Amongst that beautiful sort of energy. It is. That's how I hang out.
So awesome.
But it was a great thing. Just touching on a point you mentioned. You said, Kundalini Yoga, I felt light. It was inward focused. You felt still. So I don't know it's Kundalini Yoga was part of that facilitation, but that's who you are anyway, who you are deep down. So I'm not putting something on you to make you feel that way. That's what you have inside of you. So when people feel still or feel light, that's who they are deep down. That's their essence. So it's a way of helping people get to that spot.
Connect back to the
Yeah.
I love that. That's beautiful. That's so exciting. Yeah, that's really incredible. Oh, brilliant. So who's been you mentioned I'm not going to get his name right. Who's your like the person that's helped you?
Yogi Bhajan is the guru. So he brought Kundalini Yoga to the West from India in the 60s. So he felt that there was a need. He saw the large hippie movement happening there in the United States and North America, and thought this is the right time to bring this formerly secret practice out to the West. And people just responded and gravitated to it.
Why was it formerly secret? Why is it like why do you deem it appropriate now for people to be able to?
Yeah, sure. It was, I guess, traditionally it was taught from guru, from teacher to student, through that lineage. And I think he had, 20 years of yogic and spiritual education before he got there. correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess why was it the right time? And I guess it was, maybe they call it the age of Aquarius, but it was a way that we could become our own teachers. There was that energy and drive. So rather than it being from teacher to student, and yes, I teach, but we have that energy and that power within to be transformed. So it's not that linear sort of, I tell you how to do it. It's more like, how does it feel for you? Get out of it as much as possible. It's about that, I guess, group energy. And I sort of feel that it's the right time. And in the 60s, perhaps that was that impetus. It was the right time for people to generate that collective consciousness.
Yeah.
So
yeah, beautiful.
It was the timing.
Exciting. And like, even as you said that, like doing your own thing, I noticed like when we went through the poses, there was like so many options as well. It's like wherever your body's at, just meet your body where it's at.
Yeah, and you can visualize if you can't if you can't do it. So just the power of the mind.
See yourself doing it, and it's like, again, that whole inward practice. Super, super cool. So I want to ask you, you said something, I asked you this question, and this is just completely diving out.
Okay.
You said that you've learnt a lot from your dogs.
Did I say this? Oh yes, I may have said that.
I feel the same way, because I feel this really like affinity for just the pets and like the mirrors that they present. Like your relationship with.
I love dogs. I'm a bit of a dog stalker. I just, gravitate to them and smother them. Yeah. So I love their energy. About dogs, how have they taught me? I think it is that unconditional love. They just love you. And sometimes they can get a bit narky and frustrated, and it's like, and then I will get my back up and, hey, I'm just reacting there. So that's how they can teach me. So through love, through acceptance, it's a beautiful relationship. I think love is a big word when it comes to dogs. And you go to a dog, you pat them, you massage them. How do you feel afterwards? You feel amazing. Yeah. So, is that stillness? I think that probably is.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you, I don't know if there's, is there I don't know if there's any resources for Kundalini Yoga. Is there like a book that you?
There are many books, but there is a website, www.3ho.org, I believe. 3HO. So what does that mean? So that's the official one. So Yogi Bhajan had a motto. So the 3 H's: happy, healthy, and why does the last H escape me?
Yeah.
But so
right,
that's the website.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So 3ho.org. And that's the touch point.
Yeah, that's a great touch point. Also, there's a website, Spirit Voyage.
Yeah.
So that has a lot of kriyas and meditations. So they are great resources.
When you say kriya is like
set of asanas, and there is a specific sequence, and there are specific time frames as well. So to get you to that point of connection and stillness.
What's your favourite?
Oh, do I have one? I think, and maybe because it's a group aspect, I've loved the Tantric healing meditation because I can see amazing results in people. I think it's just beautiful because you can choose to heal yourself, choose to heal others, choose to heal people in that circle. I think it's pretty special.
Nice.
That's really great.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. There are a couple of ones that you can do on the full moon.
Yeah.
And, there's probably, there are more than a few, but the ones in the circle that are done on a full moon, I think they're really beautiful. So,
Something more than just you. It's like you got to dial into the elements with the moon and stuff. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Is there a book that you've read in your life that has been somewhat of like an impetus to transformation?
I think, I don't know why these books come into my head as you've said that, because it's totally not even spiritual per se, but Skinny Legs and All. I loved that book, and maybe because I read that when I was young. So I loved it because it talks about different religions and how we're all the same and going back through history, connecting to the present. And it's really funny. I love the humour. So skinny legs and all.
Yeah, cool. I like it.
And was it transformative? yeah. And I think as a young person at the time, I love that. That was mind opening for me. So yeah.
Beautiful. And if we could say like erect a billboard in Times Square,
yes,
and it could read anything it wanted to, but you got to choose.
I got to choose.
What is billboard in the
Ooh, wow, yeah.
All the bells and whistles and lights. And blah, blah, blah. What does the Kate Cheung billboard say?
What does it say? It might say something like, "Be curious," and connect with flow.
Yo, two very deep messages.
Yeah, or trust in the flow. But there's a flow there if we tuned into it, and it's there for everyone.
Trust in the flow. I love that. What, like, something about curiosity, isn't it?
Yeah, because we can remain stagnant, but we're always changing.
Yeah.
We're always transforming. We've just got to tap into that.
And so curiosity is a gateway into that.
Yes, because, I believe so.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's connected to being a seeker as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's an interesting point that you mentioned there, because recently I've been in the transformative state of we're in similar places, or like continually just staying curious. It's kind of been like the get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know how to make this happen. And it's like, well, you're curious about it, right? And it's like, okay. And then you just sort of lean into it, and then like things start to unravel. So curious and then trust in the flow is like,
so keeping an open mind, and what else? Yeah, and I love being proven wrong, because we have our set of the way things are. Some of us do. And it's like, hey, I love being challenged and learning. That's what it is. It's about learning.
I want to ask you, this is my last question, my favourite question. I can't wait.
All right, with bated breath.
This is my last question, and we're going to go soon, but it's never like this. I'm so excited.
Okay.
So it's esoteric in its nature, and it's always framed kind of weird, but who is Kate beyond the name, beyond the skin suit, beyond the practice, beyond the identity? Who are you?
That is a deep question. You can keep digging and digging, and I guess I'm a soul, and we all are souls. So, and I think that's what the journey is about. How can I connect more with my essence, with my soul? Because it's just in there waiting to emerge and shine, and hopefully, it is all shining. I think I'm soul, and I guess we're all connected. So I just like to visualize a bunch of souls, not necessarily in a human form, and just beautiful light-filled connections. So I see the soul as light and bright.
Yo, that's so yummy. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you for going there. And on that, like, thank you so much for obviously going on this journey, and it's inspired evolution in my humble opinion, but going taking a leap of faith out of the corporate and into something that is different and something that lights you up, and then to offer that to the world, because it's meant so much and giving you so much. Just the wisdom and the tenacity and the resilience and the softness that'll take is really inspirational. So thank you for walking that line, that path. So thank you for all the work that you've put into that. Thank you for where you're at now, and super grateful for where this is all going. So thank you.
That's warm and yummy. That's a great feeling. Thank you, Amrit. I think it's beautiful to have this chat with you. I think it's just great.
Yeah, and in your wisdom as well, coming to share the practice with it as well, definitely sparked something. So I know I'll be practicing more just based on the humble offering that you brought to us so humbly as well, and so deep. So thank you for
you're welcome. Thank you.
I really could not do this justice without, like, how do people get in touch with you?
Oh, sure. On Facebook, you can look up Courage and Bliss info.
Yep.
So that's and with the AND.
Yep.
And also by email, courageandblissinfo@gmail.com.
So courage
and blissinfo@gmail.com.
Alternatively, Courage and Bliss
info on Facebook.
Which is just type that in Facebook and you'll find.
That's right.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. Courage and Bliss.
Well, that's my spiritual name that was bestowed on me by, So spiritual name is Himatananda, and that's what it translates to, Courage and Bliss.
Himatananda.
Yeah.
That's a strong name.
It's a great name. Initially I was like, how does that sound?
No disrespect.
No, yeah, but it's cool.
That's like a superhero name.
Yeah. So
Himmat is a really good name, and Ananda is a really good name. But you've got like.
It's combined. So it's something like the ability to find, or the courage to find my bliss once I reach the limitlessness of my soul. So it's pretty long. So just casually.
Venture out to the limitlessness of your soul, and when you get there, you might just find your bliss while you're at it. Yeah, incredible. I love it. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Oh, New Mexico sounds like it was a trip.
It was amazing. I loved the bubble.
Yeah, traveling is incredible like that. Oh, awesome. Well, on that, wishing you all the best on your travels forward for this journey as well. Thank you so much for your time here today.
You're welcome.
Can't wait to see you in another class.
Yes, keep inspiring, keep evolving. Thank you, Amrit.
Yo. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Love of the Inspired Evolution and sharing the Love of the Inspired Evolution. If you feel like this content has supported you or may support anyone else that you know may resonate with the content of it, please share away and share the love around. Thank you guys so much. And to stay up to date on whatever's coming out with the Inspired Evolution, please subscribe. There's all these links in the bio for you to tune into the episodes and all these different platforms, just so that message can get to you and your loved ones. Thank you so much for all your love and support. Stay inspired to evolve.